Admiral Kexri of the Concordiate Alliance stared at the holographic display with all four of his eyes, mandibles clicking in agitation. Another patrol fleet had gone silent. The third this cycle. His carapace trembled slightly as he processed the implications. "Display the pattern analysis," he commanded, his translator rendering his chittering speech into standard galactic common. The AI complied instantly, projecting a series of red dots representing disappeared Alliance vessels across the sector map. The pattern was unsettling, methodical, precise, like a predator systematically hunting its prey. "High Command won't be pleased," remarked Sub-Commander Vess, her crystalline form refracting the hologram's light. "That's the 7th Fleet's entire patrol wing, gone without a trace." Kexri's outer eyes narrowed while his inner pair focused on the latest disappearance point. No debris field, no distress signals, just silence. He waved a clawed appendage through the hologram, expanding the view. "It's as if they simply ceased to exist." The chamber fell silent save for the soft hum of the command center systems. Every officer present knew what this meant, though none dared speak it aloud. There was only one species in this sector capable of such precision, such technological advancement that could leave no trace: humans. The very thought sent an uncomfortable ripple through Kexri's exoskeleton. Humans were supposedly contained, their expansion limited by treaties and technological restrictions imposed by the Alliance. Yet rumors had been spreading through subspace channels, whispers of a new human vessel unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Admiral," a junior sensor officer called out, their voice wavering. "Long-range arrays are detecting an anomaly at the edge of the Hyperion Nebula. Energy signature, unknown configuration." Kexri moved swiftly to the sensor station, his claws clicking against the deck plating. The reading made no sense. It violated half a dozen laws of physics the Alliance considered immutable. The energy pattern seemed to fold in on itself, as if the very fabric of space was being warped in ways that shouldn't be possible. "Magnification," he ordered, all four eyes fixed on the main view screen as it resolved to show a distant point of light. The image enhanced, stabilized, and revealed a shape that sent chills through every alien present. The vessel was undeniably of human design, but unlike any warship Kexri had ever encountered. Its hull seemed to shimmer and shift, as if it wasn't fully present in normal space. Where Alliance vessels bristled with weapon emplacements and shield generators, this ship was smooth, almost organic in its curves. It was beautiful in its simplicity, and terrifying in its implications. "Send word to High Command," Kexri commanded, his voice steady despite his growing unease. "The humans have broken containment. They've developed something new." But before his communications officer could comply, the sensor readings spiked. The human vessel seemed to flicker, like a mirage in desert heat. In that instant, Kexri understood with crystal clarity why no debris had been found from the missing patrols. The human ship wasn't destroying them. It was making them vanish from existence itself. "Battle stations," he ordered, but even as klaxons began to wail throughout his command center, he knew it might already be too late. The humans had achieved something that the Alliance had long thought impossible. They had mastered the manipulation of quantum space itself, and in doing so, had changed the rules of warfare forever. The last thing Admiral Kexri saw before his command center disappeared into nothingness was the human vessel beginning to glow with an impossible light. In that moment, he realized that the Alliance's assumption of superiority over humanity had been their greatest mistake. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy would never be the same. Last edited 2 minutes ago. Deep within the crystalline spires of the Alliance Science Directorate, first researcher Zenaval pored over the sensor data for the 100th time. Her crystalline form pulsed with frustrated energy as she manipulated the holographic displays, trying to make sense of readings that defied explanation. "It simply isn't possible," she muttered, her harmonic voice resonating through the chamber. The data showed energy patterns that shouldn't exist, quantum states that contradicted everything the Alliance knew about physics. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The door to her laboratory hummed open, admitting Grand Theorist Unkstall, the Alliance's foremost expert on human technology. The insectoid scientist's antennae twitched as he approached the displays. "You found something." Zenaval's crystalline surface rippled with uncertainty. "The human vessel doesn't break the laws of physics, Grand Theorist. It ignores them completely." She gestured at the cascading data streams. "Look at these quantum signatures. They're not just manipulating space-time. They're operating outside of it." Mextall chittered thoughtfully as he studied the readings. "Impossible. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical," Zenaval finished. "Yet they've done it. Somehow, they found a way to slip between the quantum foam itself. It's why we can't track them, why their weapons leave no trace. They're not destroying our ships. They're removing them from our reality entirely." The implications were staggering. The Alliance had always assumed their understanding of physics was complete, that their technological superiority over humanity was assured. Yet here was evidence that humans had not only caught up, but had leaped far ahead in ways no one had thought possible. "There's more," Zenaval continued, her form glowing brighter with excitement despite the dire implications. "I've traced the quantum signature's origin. It bears remarkable similarities to theoretical work done by a human scientist nearly a decade ago." Dr. Sarah Chen. Mextall's mandibles clicked rapidly, the equivalent of a surprised intake of breath. "The same Dr. Chen, whose research we dismissed as impossible. The one who claimed quantum states could be manipulated at a macro level." "Yes," Zenaval confirmed. "We thought her theories were nonsense because they contradicted our fundamental understanding of physics. But what if our understanding was incomplete?" The laboratory fell silent as both scientists contemplated the magnitude of their discovery. The humans hadn't broken the rules of physics. They'd found new ones, operating at a level the Alliance hadn't even known existed. Mextall moved to a secure terminal, his claws dancing across the interface. "According to our intelligence, Dr. Chen disappeared from public view 3 years ago, shortly after we rejected her paper for publication in the Galactic Scientific Journal." "Not disappeared," Zenaval corrected, her crystalline form pulsing with realization. "Recruited. The humans saw what we refused to see. They gave her the resources to prove her theories correct." The implications caused Mextall's antennae to droop. "And now they have a weapon that makes our most powerful defenses meaningless. A ship that can simply remove any threat from existence." "Not just a weapon," Zenaval whispered, her harmonics trembling with awe. "A whole new understanding of reality itself. The humans didn't just advance their technology. They fundamentally changed their comprehension of how the universe works." A priority alert suddenly flashed across their displays. More Alliance ships had vanished, this time closer to the core worlds. The human vessel was growing bolder, its actions more precise and deliberate. "We need to contact High Command immediately," Mextall declared, already moving toward the communication array. "The situation is worse than they realize. We're not just facing superior technology. We're facing a species that has transcended our understanding of what's possible." As the alert signals continued to flash, Zenaval found herself wondering about Dr. Chen. What had she discovered in her research that had allowed humanity to make such a massive leap forward? And more importantly, what else were humans capable of that the Alliance had dismissed as impossible? The answer to that question would soon reshape the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted, and the Alliance was running out of time to prepare for what was coming. The Alliance battle fleet hung in the void like a constellation of artificial stars. 500 vessels, the largest armada assembled since the Nexus Wars, waited in perfect formation. Supreme Commander Vexthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, his chitinous armor gleaming under the command deck's lights. "Status report," he demanded, all 4 eyes fixed on the tactical display. "All ships in position." "Supreme Commander," his tactical officer responded. "Long-range sensors are active, but..." The officer hesitated. They're experiencing unusual interference patterns. Vex Thor's mandibles clicked in irritation. They all knew what that meant. The human vessel was near. The fleet had been positioned at a critical junction of hyperspace lanes, laying a trap for the mysterious ship that had been terrorizing Alliance space. Intelligence suggested the humans would have to pass through this sector to reach their next likely target. The trap was set, the bait laid. A sudden ripple of distortion appeared at the edge of their sensor range. The energy signature was unmistakable, the quantum drive that had baffled Alliance scientists. But something was different this time. "Supreme Commander," the sensor officer called out, their voice tight with concern. "The quantum signature. It's stronger than any previous reading, by several orders of magnitude." Before Vex Thor could respond, space itself seemed to wrinkle. The human vessel emerged, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of simply appearing, it seemed to unfold into reality, like a flower blooming in accelerated time. Its hull rippled with patterns of light that hurt to look at directly. By the first stars, someone whispered on the bridge. The vessel was larger than their previous encounters had suggested, its hull seamlessly blending organic curves with geometric precision. But what truly caught Vex Thor's attention was the way space itself seemed to bend around it, as if reality was being gently pushed aside to make room for something that shouldn't exist. "All ships, battle formations," Vex Thor commanded. "Concentrate fire on my mark." The Alliance fleet began to move, spreading out in a carefully choreographed dance of war. 500 ships, each capable of destroying a small moon, ready to unleash their combined firepower on a single target. Then a voice echoed through every communication system in the fleet. Human, female, calm, and assured. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen of the TNS Quantum Breach. Your weapons cannot harm us, and we have no desire for unnecessary bloodshed. The Alliance's time of technological supremacy is over. We offer you one chance to withdraw." Vex Thor's outer eyes narrowed while his inner pair widened, a sign of both anger and fear. "Open fire," he ordered. The void lit up as 500 ships unleashed their weaponry. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and exotic particle weapons converged on the quantum breached position. It was enough firepower to crack a planet. The human vessel didn't attempt to evade. Instead, the space around it seemed to fold inward. Every weapon impact simply ceased to be, vanishing into nothing as reality itself twisted around the ship. "Impossible," Vex Thor breathed. The quantum breach began to move, not through space, but through the layers of reality itself. Where it passed, Alliance ships simply winked out of existence, removed from the universe as easily as wiping dust from a screen. Not destroyed, erased. "Computer, analyze their attack pattern," Vex Thor demanded, desperate for some way to counter this impossible weapon. "Pattern analysis impossible," the AI responded. "The human vessel appears to be operating in multiple quantum states simultaneously. It exists in all possible attack vectors until observation collapses its waveform." Vex Thor watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. The quantum breach moved with deliberate precision, each action calculated for maximum strategic impact. It wasn't just defeating them, it was demonstrating the complete obsolescence of their technology. "All ships, emergency retreat," Vex Thor ordered, but even as the words left his mandibles, he knew it was too late. The human vessel had already begun to glow with that impossible light that preceded its quantum displacement effect. In his final moments before the Eternal Dominion was erased from existence, Vex Thor understood the true magnitude of the Alliance's mistake. They had pushed humanity into a corner, believing they could contain and control them. Instead, they had forced humans to think beyond the boundaries of known physics, to find solutions where none should exist. The Battle of Junction Point, as it would come to be known, lasted less than 15 minutes. When it was over, the largest fleet in Alliance history had been reduced to nothing but sensor logs and terrified reports from distant observers. The age of Alliance supremacy was over, and a new era of human ascendance had begun. The Alliance High Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 100 species argued in a cacophony of translated voices, their forms casting strange shadows in the pale light of the orbital station. The recent defeat of their grand fleet had shattered centuries of comfortable superiority. In the center of the chamber, a hologram flickered to life. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before them, her image projected from the quantum breach itself. The human scientist looked nothing like the threat they had imagined. She was small, middle-aged, with silver-streaked hair and laugh lines around her eyes. "Members of the High Council," she began, her voice carrying that same calm assurance that had preceded the fleet's destruction. "You're wondering how humanity achieved what you thought impossible. The answer is simple. We stopped trying to master the universe and learned to listen to it instead." The chamber fell silent. Even the most agitated council members stilled, drawn in by her words. 10 years ago, when I presented my quantum theory to your science directorate, you dismissed it as impossible. Your physics couldn't explain what I had discovered, so you assumed it couldn't exist. She smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in it. What you fail to understand is that physics isn't a set of rules the universe must follow. It's our attempt to describe what we observe. Behind her, complex equations and diagrams began to appear, showing the principles that drove the quantum breach's impossible technology. We discovered that reality isn't a single fixed thing. It's more like a conversation. Every particle, every wave, every quantum state is constantly negotiating with every other part of existence. Your scientists tried to force the universe to behave according to your understanding. We learned to join the conversation. The diagrams shifted, showing how the quantum breach's drive system worked. It wasn't forcing its way through space-time. It was persuading reality to accept a different configuration, one where the ship and its target existed in different states of possibility. "The quantum drive doesn't break physics," Chen continued. "It expands it. We're not erasing ships from existence. We're negotiating their transition to other quantum states, other possibilities. Every vessel we've displaced still exists, just elsewhere, in potential rather than actuality." A murmur ran through the council chamber. The implications were staggering. One of the counselors, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, spoke up. "You've weaponized quantum uncertainty itself." Chen shook her head. "No. We've learned to work with it. The difference is crucial. Your weapons try to destroy. Ours relocates, redistributes probability. It's the difference between smashing a window and convincing the glass that it would rather be sand." She gestured, and new images appeared. The original laboratory where she had made her breakthrough. "We succeeded because we had no choice. When the Alliance restricted our expansion, blocked our trade, limited our technology, you forced us to think differently, to look for answers in places you had never thought to explore." The chamber erupted in questions, but Chen raised her hand for silence. "But here's what you really need to understand. This is only the beginning. The quantum drive is just the first step. Now that we understand how to converse with reality itself, there's no limit to what humanity might achieve." The implications of her words sent shockwaves through the council. They had thought they were containing a potential threat. Instead, they had inadvertently pushed humanity to transcend the very boundaries of known science. "We don't seek dominion over the Alliance," Chen continued. "We seek understanding, partnership, a chance to share what we've learned with species willing to think beyond the boundaries of what they believe possible." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The choice is yours. Continue to see us as a threat to be contained, and will remain beyond your reach, or accept that your understanding of reality isn't complete, and join us in exploring what's truly possible." The council chamber fell into a heavy silence as the truth settled over them. They had not been defeated by superior firepower or advanced technology. They had been outthought by a species that had dared to question the fundamental nature of reality itself. And now they faced a choice that would determine the future of galactic civilization: adapt to this new understanding of the universe, or be left behind by those who would. 1 year after Dr. Chen's address to the High Council, the quantum breach hovered silently above Earth's northern hemisphere, its hull shimmering with possibilities. On its observation deck, Dr. Chen stood beside Ambassador Vexthor, formerly Supreme Commander, watching shuttles ferry delegates from across the galaxy to the first Quantum Science Summit. "I never thought I'd be standing here," Vexthor admitted, his mandibles moving in what humans had learned was a gesture of wry amusement. "A year ago, I was ordering my fleet to destroy your ship, and now you're helping us teach quantum communication to Alliance scientists." Chen replied with a smile. "The universe is full of surprising possibilities." Below them, Earth gleamed like a jewel. The planet had changed dramatically since the revelation of quantum technology. Research centers dotted the surface, where scientists from 100 species worked alongside humans to understand the principles that had revolutionized their understanding of reality. "The first commercial quantum drive goes online next month," Vexthor noted. "My people are already talking about the possibilities for cultural exchange when distance becomes negotiable." Chen nodded. The past year had seen a complete reversal in human-alliance relations. Once the initial shock had worn off, the scientific communities of both civilizations had thrown themselves into collaborative research with extraordinary enthusiasm. "We've already successfully relocated 3 of the ships we displaced during the conflict," she said. "Once we fully understand the probability matrices, we should be able to retrieve them all." A soft chime interrupted their conversation. The quantum communicator, another spin-off of their breakthrough, activated, projecting a hologram of first researcher Zeneval. The crystalline scientist's form pulsed with excitement. "Dr. Chen, Ambassador, you need to see this. We've made a breakthrough in the quantum resonance experiments." The hologram expanded, showing data streams that made Vexthor's outer eyes widen. "Is that?" "Yes," Zeneval confirmed. "By combining Alliance crystalline computing with human quantum theory, we found a way to establish communication links across probability states. We can potentially talk to alternate versions of ourselves." Chen felt a familiar thrill run through her. This was why she had become a scientist, not to create weapons, but to expand the boundaries of what was possible. "There's more," Zeneval continued. "The quantum patterns we're detecting. They suggest that reality itself might be conscious in some way. The conversation you described in your theories, Dr. Chen. It appears to be literal. The universe isn't just allowing us to negotiate with it. It's actively participating in the dialogue." Vexthor's antennae twitched. "Are you saying the universe is alive?" "Perhaps not in any way we currently understand," Chen replied, her mind racing with the implications. "But aware, responsive. The evidence is becoming harder to ignore." Through the observation window, they could see more ships arriving for the summit. Vessels of every size and configuration, representing civilizations that had been bitter rivals just a year ago, now united in their desire to understand the new physics that humanity had discovered. "We're receiving reports from the quantum research stations in the Orion Arm," Zeneval added. "The techniques we developed for ship displacement, they might be applicable to planetary terraforming. We could potentially negotiate with entire worlds, convince them to become more hospitable to life." Chen felt a warm satisfaction as she watched the delegates arrive. This was what she had hoped for when she first made her breakthrough. Not dominance, but collaboration. Not the power to destroy, but the ability to transform. "The Alliance restricted us because they feared what we might become," she mused. "They never considered that what we might become was exactly what the galaxy needed." Vexthor made a sound that his translator rendered as a chuckle. "We thought we were containing a threat. Instead, we pushed humanity to discover something that will change everything. The irony is not lost on me." Below them, Earth continued its eternal dance around the sun. But now it was more than just humanity's homeworld. It had become the center of a revolution in understanding. a place where the impossible became possible and the boundaries between thought and reality grew ever thinner. The quantum drive was just the beginning, Chen said softly. We've learned to talk to the universe itself. Now we just have to learn what it's been trying to tell us all along. As if in response, the quantum breach's hull shimmed with new patterns, possibilities rippling across its surface like waves on an infinite ocean. The future that stretched before them was as vast as space itself, filled with potential that no species could explore alone. The era of isolation was over. The age of quantum collaboration had begun. And somewhere in the endless dance of probability and possibility, the universe itself seemed to smile.